What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel for a new what if scenario, in which we take a key moment of the Skywalker saga and change it, in order to explore the unforeseen consequences, and to outline the significance of the original decisions. In this video, we'll be doing something a bit different, as I will explain the change we are addressing first, but then jump forward to a different time period, to explore how this change would have impacted things long term. So let's get started. As you can tell from the title of this video, the question at hand is, what would have happened if Qui-Gon had survived the Phantom Menace? But instead of picking up from that moment, we will jump forward to Order 66 and assume that Anakin's destiny and the Jedi purge that coincided with that was unavoidable regardless of who his teacher was. I do understand that Qui-Gon may have been able to prevent Anakin's turn to the dark side, but for the purposes of this video, we will assume otherwise. The duel between Obi-Wan and Vader on Mustafar still takes place, as Qui-Gon had ventured off on his own mission to follow up on reports of suspicious activity in the Outer Rim. Upon his return to Coruscant, the purge had already taken place. So now we find ourselves in a very different situation. Rather than dying before his failure came full circle, Qui-Gon is now forced to face the consequences for his insistence that Anakin be trained as a Jedi. Like Luke Skywalker, the Jedi Master must accept reality and make a choice. He will go into hiding either way, but does he do so out of shame for his lack of vision, with the intention of hiding away until death? Or is this decision made with a plan to recalculate, to reload, and one day to return to right his wrongs? Thanks to friendships which Luke Skywalker was not fortunate enough to have, the support of Yoda and Obi-Wan would help Qui-Gon to carry on. To see that ending the Jedi was not the answer, but rather just a refusal to accept responsibility for his mistakes, a cowardly decision that went against everything Jinn believed in. And the birth of the Skywalker twins would provide a ray of hope for the galaxy. So, the Jedi Master would disappear, but not alongside Yoda on Dagobah, nor with Kenobi to watch over Luke on Tatooine. Instead, Qui-Gon would head off on his own path, as he so frequently did, following the will of the Force, searching for answers, seeking to understand where he had gone wrong and what his next move should be. For Jinn was growing old. He did not know how much longer he would have in this realm, but his role in this fight was not yet over. He owed it to himself, to the galaxy, and to Anakin. To Anakin most of all, to seek answers, to find the meaning in all of this, and to continue seeking balance, as was his mission from the beginning. For years, the Jedi Master would travel the galaxy in search of knowledge. So much time would pass that Obi-Wan began to wonder if his old friend was even still alive. Yoda too questioned Qui-Gon's whereabouts until finally, the old Jedi returned to inform Yoda about what he had found. And this is where his survival fundamentally changes the course of everything from here on out. We have to keep in mind that it was Qui-Gon who insisted that Anakin be trained. It was he who assured the Jedi Council that he was the chosen one. And so finally, it is Qui-Gon Jinn who will see that Anakin Skywalker still lives. In this encounter, Qui-Gon attempts to open Yoda's eyes to the possibility of Anakin's return. For in his search for answers, Qui-Gon encountered a Force entity who confirmed his theory about Anakin. He assured Qui-Gon it was foretold that ultimate balance would require the sacrifice of many Jedi. That when the egg holding the dangers of the past cracked, it would threaten the galaxy. And then, when the time was right, a chosen one would come, born of no father, and through him would ultimate balance in the Force be restored. Sure, it was possible at this point that the prophecy was wrong and that it was time to give up, but the prophecy's accurate alignment with how things had played out thus far was undeniable. Nevertheless, Yoda would refuse to help Qui-Gon, instead telling him that the Skywalker twins were their only hope, insisting that they continue to wait until they were ready to be trained. A visit with Obi-Wan would yield a similar result, as Kenobi too refused to believe in this prophecy any longer. He wanted to help his old master, but it is in this moment that Kenobi refuses to support Jinn's rogue actions for a final time, begging him to give up on his hopeless dream. Reluctantly, Qui-Gon would leave Tatooine, making one final stop before revealing himself to Lord Vader. He would venture to Alderaan, like a literal thief in the night. He would gather a 10-year-old Leia while she slept, and finally head for the resting place of the late Queen, Padme Amidala, on Naboo. From here, Qui-Gon would reach out to his fallen apprentice, fully reopening himself to the Force, and thus intentionally revealing his location to Darth Vader, who could not resist the bait. Over the next 24 hours, Qui-Gon would comfort Leia, convincing her that he was her protector, and that when it was safe, he would take her back home. At 10 years old, Leia is old enough to know not to trust strangers, but something about this old man would bring her comfort. So Leia would manage to calm her fears and trust Qui-Gon for now. Not that he was leaving her a choice anyways. As night fell over Naboo once again, Lord Vader arrived to confront his old master. The Jedi had taken everything from him. They betrayed him when he needed them most, and this man, Qui-Gon Jinn, had stolen him from his mother, promised to give him a better life, and help him become a great Jedi Knight. Instead, young Anakin had been betrayed, lied to, forced to hide his love, to conceal his most basic human emotions. He was treated as a mere pawn in the Jedi's quest for power, despite Anakin's exceptional performance. They had already paid the price for their lack of vision, but the success of Order 66 was not enough. Vader would not rest until every single Jedi was destroyed. He did not bring a single trooper with him for this encounter, because this was the battle he wanted most of all. Qui-Gon Jinn would die at his hands by the strike of his lightsaber, and no one was going to take that pleasure away from him. The old man knew at this point that he did not stand a chance against his old apprentice. He did not want a fight, although that did seem inevitable. But Qui-Gon was okay with this reality. He was ready to give his life here, tonight, if it meant he could save his old friend. He owed his life to that little boy from Tatooine, and he would do everything in his power to give him a second chance. Alright guys, so I actually already have part 2 of this recorded, but I do have a little bit more editing to do, so I'm gonna go ahead and end part 1 here, and then we'll have part 2 out very, very soon. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about part 1, and as usual, may the Force be with you always.